What's going on, guys? 99 Sebring oil pan gasket. First off, you need to get down to where the radiator support is, and you need to drop the radiator down. And I'm going to show y'all here in just a second on what bolts or how many bolts and everything that needs to disconnect. And then once you drop the radiator core support down, then there's tabs that go here, which is these little guys right here. All right, they go in there just like that. Turn it all the way counter or clockwise, to lock them in place. Turn back about halfway like that, and they just come out. Then you can drop your radiator. All right, this is your support. You got two bolts here, you got two long ones here, and you got two short ones here. Then you got two bolts on this end. Right here you've got a 10mm nut that holds these in place. This one was already loose, but you got a I think it's a transmission line or AC line, whichever, that runs through these brackets. But you want to loosen these brackets up and get that AC line out of your way, and then you can go ahead and finish dropping your core support. All right, next is your cradle, which I've got to replace the motor mounts anyway. So if you're running into this issue and got to replace the motor mounts as well, and you might want to just go ahead and finish the job and go ahead and change out the oil pan gasket if you ain't already. There's a bolt that runs through here. This is the back one. There's a bolt that runs through here. These motor mounts are pretty dang shot. You got a small bolt up top right there you can get with a quarter drive ratchet, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that was a 14mm, I believe. Don't quote me on it. But you got two bolts on the back right here underneath. Then you've got those 4 bolts like I showed you on the core support. Now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and disconnect this bolt first. Then you want to come back here and you want to disconnect this bolt. Then you can go ahead and disconnect these two. This one, like I said, this one's a little harder to get to, but it probably don't matter which way you start on it. So okay, now we're at the good part of it. That's that bracket. That's the front motor mount, the bolt that I was telling you to take out. Okay, then you got that bracket back there. All right, and then let's see if y'all can see that way back there. It is way back there in the back. You got that bolt up top like I was telling you. All right, then you can go ahead and drop your cradle. You want to drop your cradle down. Next, next you want to drain all the oil out of the oil pan. Get all the oil completely out. If you've already changed your oil and you need motor mounts, well, it looks like you're going to be doing the oil again. But anyway, you want to drop your oil filter. Alrighty, then you've got your starter that's going to be over here. All right, that's going to hook in. On the back side of this, you got 3 volts going through. The very top one is pretty difficult to get to. That you may need the 1/4" drive ratchet for it, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they're 14mm bolts. Like I said, don't quote me. I've been on this thing all dang day trying to get this oil pan out of here. But you want to disconnect your starter. There's 2 plugs, if I can find it. Okay, 2 plugs. This one here unclips. Then you got this plug here. Half inch. I'm sorry. It's a half standard nut that goes on that plug. Undisconnect all that. Make sure you disconnect your battery first, because you don't want to get electrocuted or shocked. But you want to disconnect that. And then once you do that, let's see here. You want to also loosen this here up. And I think they're 18mm bolts. One goes there. There's 2 that go, there's 2 of them that go on this. You want to loosen this up so that way it swivels, because you don't have to take this completely out, because you can kind of move it out of your way and get to those 10mm bolts up top and loosen all of those up. Now here's where the trick part comes in, where your exhaust manifold is. All right, you got the exhaust part that runs right up underneath the oil pan gasket, and it comes up and hooks into there to your back exhaust manifold. All right, these 2 nuts on that wasn't too bad to get off. They're really tight, but it wasn't too bad. But guess what? This is where what happens when things rust up real bad and been sitting for a while. There's 2 gaskets on it, which I'm gonna be replacing them anyhow. The nuts on these sheared off, so now that just made a good day turn bad, because now the exhaust manifold now has to be replaced. Now I could drill those out and put other bolts and stuff in there, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just go ahead and replace the exhaust manifold on it. That way I can then go and find new bolts and nuts and stuff like that to fit in there, even if I have to go and order them exactly from Chrysler, if they make them still. So that right there, it sheared off and turned this day to a very bad day. Now I did not let me get out from underneath here. I did not mess with these bolts here. Okay, this is your back, basically basically how it sits. All right, so it goes up underneath your oil pan your oil pan and bolts in. Okay, I did not disconnect these because I know for a fact these are probably going to end up shearing off on me. I didn't want to run into all that, so the best way is I just disconnected it from the back manifold, and this is the side that actually sheared off those studs that you've seen. So alright guys, I'm back. Hang on, let's get this thing cleared. Now then, took his thing off, took his oil pan off. This thing don't have no gasket on it. Somebody put gasket sealer or a gasket maker. So they didn't actually put a gasket on there, so that's exactly why it leaked. One thing is, when you get this, when I explained something about taking, well, I don't even know if I explained it. Heck, I'm already 9 minutes into the video. You do not have to pull the dipstick, where the dipstick goes. You don't have to pull it out. Dipstick you have to pull out, but the tube that inserts in here, you don't pull it out, because as big as this coupling is, this actually just pulls down and it just pulls out. So the top part, you don't have to worry about trying to pull it out. It's just this bottom piece that's hooked into the oil pan. And most vehicles like Hondas and stuff, yeah, you can actually take the dipstick part and yank it out of there. But anyway, since we got this oil pan and stuff out, make sure you clean the inside really good. Normally it's actually just better to clean it when you get all the gasket and stuff out, but I like to actually just pre-clean it first, inside and out. That way I don't have to, I mean, even though I'm probably doing more work that way, but that's just me. I just rather clean it all out because I don't like getting my hands all oily and everything when there's a whole bunch of oil still left in it. And then I can just go ahead and continue to work on this. But anyway, well, if I don't quit dropping this thing, get you a good sharp box cutter knife, you know, or box cutter blade, actually I should say. But get you a good sharp blade, and even this goes with this type gasket, or it even goes with just an actual gasket that goes on here. But you just want to take it just like you would anything else, like a head gasket or water pump gasket or anything like that. You don't want to dig in like that and pull, because you'll embed into the metal. What you want to do, this is actually the best way I can actually show you, since it's already out, but you just want to kind of come in here like this. Oh, if I can get it steadied up here. You want to come in here like that, and you want to have your blade to almost where it's flat, but not quite so flat. You just want to come in here and just kind of start working, you know, working at it. Same way on the edges and stuff. You don't want to dig in. You just want to kind of come in a little bit flat. So this stuff here is going to actually just start peeling off, so that's a plus. Don't have to work twice as hard, but you are going to scratch a little bit, even if there's any jagged edges. But so make sure that when you get a knife, or actually a blade, make sure it's got a good straight edge on it. This one's kind of old. I don't really have a good razor blade knife or anything like that, but you just want to kind of just come in here. As long as it don't gouge in to the metal, you're all right. But as long as if it leaves deep gouges, then you'll be in trouble. So even just kind of using the edge of it a little bit just kind of helps. Just enough to where you can get right up underneath the gasket to where you can actually, you know, get up underneath there. But I think y'all have got the gist and got the point of what I'm trying to say here and show. But I'll be back here in a little bit. And also, just a suggestion, you may also want to take some shop towels or something. You know, like I said, you know, I know y'all probably thinking, well, you know, you cleaned it and then all of a sudden, you know, you're getting junk back in there. One thing is good to do is put some shop towels or something in here. Even in that hole, put some shop towels down in there. That way all the junk or the gasket and stuff can actually fall on the shop towels, and all you can do is just wad it up and throw it in the trash. And then, you know, do some extra cleaning or whatever to it, get it all nice and cleaned up. But anyway, I'll be back here in a little bit, I guess. Okay, now I'm back. All right, that's what the oil pan should look like. Should be pretty, you know, pretty clean. You know, as long as there's no heavy gasket and stuff, that's going to eliminate it from sealing. But what I'll do is I'll do the same thing underneath the block and get it cleaned up and everything, so that way all the gasket and all that crap's off of it. And then once I do that, is I'll be back and show you on doing the sealant on it. What I'll do is I'll re-seal this with gasket maker, then I'll put the new gasket on top of that, and then put the gasket sealer on top of the gasket. That way it gets it a good even coat, and on top of that it'll actually help it from leaking. So that way it gets it nice and coated. But anyway, that's how it's supposed to look. And matter of fact, just a suggestion too, when you go to clean these, wire brush can come in handy. It does not leave it, you know, it don't go and scratch it all up and stuff. It don't leave it abrasive, you know, deep scratches or anything. It's just enough to get the gasket off. But get you one of these, brake cleaner from AutoZone or anywhere, Walmart, you know, just whatever. And acetone. Acetone's good too. It cleans and everything, so that's good stuff. Make sure you got enough shop towels, you know, or rags, whichever you prefer to use. But anyway, I'll be back here in a little bit. Alright guys, well, it's getting late, and I'll pick up more on this tomorrow. I said I was going to show y'all on the sealing up the oil pan and all that. I'm just going to run through that just real quick. I mean, just kind of speak it out real quick. Just take you some black gasket maker after you done got the oil pan nice and cleaned off real good and spotless, and just, it don't have to be on really thick, but just enough to where it's able to also hold the actual oil pan gasket that you're actually putting on there. Once you put the gasket on top of the sealer, then go ahead and run you another coat of that gasket maker on top of that gasket, and just run it with your finger all the way around, and that should just seal it. And remember, when you go to put the oil pan back on, to always start in the middle and crisscross. That way it tightens up evenly. If you just do one side and then try to do the other side, it's going to pull uneven and the gasket's not going to set right. Plus you may end up stripping out some bolts. So just always remember that. So just make sure when you go put the oil pan back on, crisscross. Start in the middle first and work your way out. Alright guys, good night. I'll probably see y'all tomorrow, and we'll try to get this thing finished up. Alright, see y'all later. Bye.